Hi, YouTube. Well, I got the bright idea of installing new front shocks on the Roadtrek. Should be really simple, right? Just a nut at the top and two bolts at the bottom, and the shock comes right out. Right? Wrong. So that was the case on one side. Here's the old shock. Came right out. It does take some time because this is very tight quarters up here, and to unscrew this takes quite a while, but two bolts on the bottom, a nut on the top, and it came right out. New shock went right in, no problem. However, on the other side, the nut that goes on here was seized. Now there's not enough, if you look here, it's a square head, kind of rounded almost. And there's not you can't get a purchase on this thing to get a lot of torque to unseize the nut that's on there. So I'm like totally screwed. I've got it part on, part off. The shock is just rattling around. What am I going to do? Well, I have a Dremel tool, and I thought if I could cut through the nut on the top, which is very accessible, and just leave a little sliver of the nut left, cut down right near the bottom of the nut. I went to the hardware store because I knew I'd need a special cutting tool. I've already used it to cut some pretty hard metal. And the shaft on a shock is chrome-plated, pretty hardened steel. So I'm going to need something pretty strong to cut through it. I found the right cutting wheel for the Dremel tool. Here's a picture of it. I installed it on the Dremel tool and got up in there and started cutting. Well, it takes a little while to do it, but the final result is the shock on that side, as you can see, I cut through it right down at the base of the nut. So I just had this little fleck of a nut left. I cut through the nut. And by doing so, there's not enough left here on this nut to hold. And so when I finally got all the way cut through, the shock just dropped down to where it was resting on the bolts that hold it in on the bottom. I just unscrewed those bolts and the shock fell right out, and I could easily install the new shock. The nice thing about the Bilstein shocks, or Bilstein, or however you want to pronounce it, is that in the head of the shock is an Allen socket. So you put an Allen wrench or a hex key into that and hold it, and then all you need to do is use a ratcheting open or closed end wrench to ratchet the nut down and tighten it up, and that Allen wrench holds the shaft, because the shaft will spin unless you can hold it still. That's the purpose of this square part here, is to be able to hold it while you ratchet the nut down. So anyway, that's how I overcame the problem of the seized nut shock absorber horror story on the Roadtrek. Now I've got a nice set of new shocks on the front, and I'm going to run around and get a set of rear shocks and put those on. I also need some upper ball joints on this according to the alignment man that put the tires on, and I'm going to order those up and do that job as well. And when I do that job, I'll show it to you. if you noticed, I've given a little sneak peek here. There are no stripes on this side of the Roadtrek. I still have the other side to do, and I thought I'd do a video showing how I take the stripes off the side of the Roadtrek. So stay tuned for that. Like the video if you like it, and subscribe if you'd like to too. I'll be doing more videos in the future. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.